really deal with the VIX. I learned to trade from Lee trading SVIX. Buying that has basically like an inverse on VIX. So when VIX shoots up, you buy SVIX because, historically VIX will obviously shoot up and the market comes down, and then it will make its way back down. Even if things just kind of stable out and go flat, doesn't mean the market has to go back up. So very interesting stuff. But I'll wait another one more minute and then we'll get into it, guys. So if there's any other questions y'all have for me before I get going, throw them at me. YouTube and X, you guys can do the same. And yeah, we'll get going here in about 1 minute. Spot at 460, it might. It might. Honestly, I hope it does, to be honest with you, because I have a 460 put that I bought. I have the I think the 515s or the 520 calls. So I bought one of those, and I bought two 460 puts. So I was betting the downside, and I'll get into why I'm doing that a little bit heavier than the call side. But yeah, so all right, well we'll get going here. So for anyone that doesn't know, I'm going to kind of break down what's going on right now. So obviously China and Trump have not come to an agreement on the little trade war going on right now, right? So China obviously retaliated with some raise in tariffs, right? So they went to 34%, I believe. And Trump, besides raising it 5% or 10%, he said, we're going to put 104% tariffs on y'all at midnight if we do not come to an agreement. My thoughts are, if I don't think China is going to agree with them right now. I'm guessing midnight Eastern time, but we'll see. Oh, really? Okay, well, we'll see. But I've seen online that some big banks and stuff are telling their traders that they need to stay here for the Asian session to open. So when the Asian markets open, if those are dropping again, I mean, those dropped 10% plus in some places the other day. And that would obviously gap us down pretty far. So I think tomorrow we're going to either be gapped up or gapped down, depending on what happens. I do think that at some point this stuff is going to get resolved. I don't think that China can live without us. Obviously, it's going to suck because prices for things are going to go up here, right? Like iPhones. I see jokes online that people are going to start buying flip phones rather than iPhones. I think that's a big reason Apple's been hit really hard. But I did see that Apple is in negotiation with India to get away from these tariffs. China makes $80 billion a year on making iPhones. So if we move iPhone production to India, at least most of it from China over to India, that would help Apple. So Apple, honestly, to me is somewhat enticing to buy down here, considering we were at $260 a share not too long ago. But yeah, anyways, so I mean, my trade was, this could totally go wrong, or I could lose on both sides. I don't know. I was just kind of YOLOing it. I bought some I think it was 520 calls on SPY expiring tomorrow, and I bought 460 puts expiring tomorrow as well. So obviously, if we open flat, those will both be red, and I'll just cut them. But very, very small size on those. So I mean, it's really, if we gap up or down, I know that the opposite side is probably going to be worth nothing. So ideally, we can outdo whatever losses on the other side. But this is really interesting. I do think that whenever we come to some sort of agreement with China, that could solidify some sort of bottom in the market, because that's honestly what Trump's been negotiating for. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that? Yeah, I saw that possibly a $2,300 iPhone. It's just insane. I thought $1,000 was crazy, but here we are at a possible $2,300. So could be big. Obviously, a big sell-off today since Trump said he was going to do that. 104% to me is pretty insane. It's really heavy and almost like just like a punch in the face to China. But then again, my thought process is China's not going to want to just roll over, because I feel like that would show some sort of weakness on their side. So I'm sure there's under the table negotiations going on that are not public. And ideally, I do think that this will be resolved and just announced with no sort of heads up. But if it's not, guys, I mean, we could easily go lower. I mean, this is pretty crazy. But at least from what I've seen, I think a lot of y'all are being very careful, which I love to see. That's what you should be doing in a market like this. I've said it 100 times, I feel like, lately, that a lot of new traders see crazy moves like this and they get sucked into it. They start, sizing up way too big. They're trying to pick a bottom way too early. And, they're dealing, sometimes with SPY short expiration contracts that can, of course, make you a lot of money, but they could also blow you up just, even faster. So if anyone here is struggling, and they're open to talk about it, which I would hope that you are, because that's what we're here for. There's no judgment here. You're not going to, there's no stupid questions. You have to make mistakes to get better in this game. So I hope that you are vocal about it. I can sit here and help you walk through it and maybe get a plan together on how to help you. But yeah, just overall, guys, this is insane. I mean, I hate that I've been pretty absent from the signals that I typically give out. But then again, when nothing is clear to me, I'm not going to force anything. And I hope to instill that into you guys. And, I've learned stuff from, Lee, a little sweet. He's here, like this SVIX trade, right? That's something that I would never even think about or consider or really even knew about. But that's the golden opportunity of being here is, no matter how good you think you are or how much you think you can constantly learn new things and new trades in different markets like this, right? So it's a constant, you constantly got to be a student of the game. Markets are forever changing. I mean, we made history the other day with the market dropping over 5% in 3 consecutive days. We opened up, up 3% today. We hit as high as about like 4, maybe 4.5%. And we ended up closing down 1.5%. That's a huge swing. Right, exactly, Roland, exactly. This is similar to what happened. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tariffs weren't, from what I remember, weren't hugely in play during COVID, so it's kind of a different scenario. But we're seeing a crazy sell-off like we saw in COVID. Let's see, what did Gary say up here? Yeah, okay. I saw something interesting also. And Lee, if you're here listening, I want to know if you agree with this from a macroeconomic standpoint here. Give me 1 sec. Let me pull this up. Where is it? Where is it? Go here. I retweeted it. And it says Trump is trying to crash the stock market at least 20%, causing a flight into treasuries. This will cause the Fed to slash interest rates so he can refinance the debt to near 0% and cause deflationary spiral, which will lower the cost of everything. He also intends to use tariffs as an incentive for companies to build in the U.S. to avoid having to pay them. The tariffs and the resulting global trade war will also force American farmers to sell more of their goods in the U.S. due to retaliatory trade measures by other countries, which will directly lower the price of groceries in the U.S. More than 94% of all stock is owned by just 8% of the US population. Trump is literally taking money from the rich and giving it to the poor. This is why Trump is playing a game of hokey pokey with tariffs. So that's an interesting take, I think. I don't know that he was doing this to purposely crash the market to bring down interest rates, but who knows? But yeah, very true. I don't know, I thought that was a very interesting take. I agree. I think there's a bigger reason for this. I mean, look, I think it's been pretty. I don't know, like I don't want to say like non-public, but just not as open as it is now. That I mean, we're getting crushed by tariffs from other countries, right? So it's time for us to kind of. America has been just been taken advantage of for so long. So even though the stock market's down and some people are in some short-term pain right now, I think in the long run this will help us as a country. And looking at history, yeah, mortgage rates will drop. I mean that helps people. Like I said, I get the market's down. I get that it sucks and it hurts some people right now. But looking back at the last two kind of pullbacks we saw during COVID and then during the bear market during Biden, less than 6 months after we hit the bottom, guys, we were at all-time highs. So I've said it the last couple of days. I think that this is one of the biggest opportunities we've had in the last 5 years, maybe more. Obviously, I don't want you guys trying to pick a bottom. I don't want you guys trying to buy, like crazy options right now and all that. What I've been doing, I've been pretty vocal about it. I put cash aside. I've just kind of been slowly buying into these dips here with shares, so I'm not having to worry about any time decay. I mean, y'all know me as an options trader, right? This is like my first long-term portfolio I've ever made, and to me, it couldn't be a better time to do that, right? And of course, I'm not going to be able to pick the perfect bottom, right? But as long as I can keep kind of averaging in here to some of these stocks that are down huge percentages, right? 20% plus in a matter of a few months. I mean, do the math, guys. If something comes down 50% and you buy it and it goes back to where it was, well, you make 100% on your money, right? If you buy something, if something's worth $500 and it comes down to $250 and you buy it and it goes back up to $500, well, you just doubled your $250 investment, right? So, keep that in mind. Again, I don't want you guys, right? It's not financial advice, but just keep that in mind that these are insane discounts, and it is safer to kind of wait for the bottom and then maybe wait for the market to start making its way back up. But then again, if you have capital to put to the side, this is an opportunity that a lot of people miss, right? A lot of people think, man, I wish I bought the bottom during COVID. Man, I wish I bought the bottom during the '08 housing crisis. This is one of those scenarios. So I'm not telling you to buy anything. I'm not telling you to do anything, but I just, from a psychological and statistical standpoint, this is pretty big. And we could easily keep coming down. So it's a big reason why, again, what I'm doing is just slowly kind of dollar cost averaging into these moves down, because I know at one point, look what the stock market has done throughout history, or as Shai would say, look left. I saw a chart today as well. Let me see if I can do this here. Let me go over the last 20 years and I'll do weekly. Look where we are right here. If you draw a trend line from COVID to the bear market here and to where we are now, doesn't mean we can't come lower, right? It doesn't mean we can't come down to 450 or even 400 on SPY, but check this out, man. Very, very interesting looking chart. And this is on SPY if y'all can't see that. So That's awesome. DK. What's left? But anyways, yeah, I think it's just worthwhile sharing. Who knows what's going to happen overnight? But I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts on that? Has anyone been buying into some equities down here? Did anyone take any SPY puts today? I saw some people making some pretty good money. Yeah, definitely a critical spot. Definitely a critical spot. I think PLTR at one point was up like 10% today. Ended up coming back down, closed just about break even. Nice, Duco. SVIX and PLTR, SPY puts, great. TSLS, what's that? Tesla Bear. Nice. So you're kind of playing the inverse on what Tesla was doing. Great job. Yeah, Solus. We'll definitely have to see. I mean, things are still kind of slowly selling off here. SPY is under 490 now, down about 6.5 points from where we closed. So obviously things can change overnight, you know. But I do think that if there's any sort of resolution with China, that could really make things bounce aggressively. I don't know how long it'll last, but maybe that could even put in some sort of bottom for us. But to me, I think that's the biggest problem right now is China, because a lot of other countries have kind of started coming to the negotiation table and saying like, all right, no tariffs, let's find a deal here. And China's the kind of the last one playing hardball. Doctor on YouTube. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, minus. I mean, it's just crazy seeing these percentages. I mean, it's just crazy. John Stonick, yeah, I agree 100%. Nice Latvian. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I know I've already said it a bunch tonight. You're never going to catch the bottom. So, one of the worst things you could do is buy a full position at once in a scenario like this, because being way too early is the same as being wrong. But at the end of the day, these are some crazy fire sales. Can I touch on crypto? Yeah. So I mean, look, crypto is going to follow the overall market, right? So I mean, if the stock market is dumping pretty hard, right, that just means people are selling a lot of shares, and it can, converting that into cash, right? So same thing will happen with crypto. I don't think Bitcoin's felt the pain nearly as much, but it's just like small caps and meme coins, whatever, are going to follow Bitcoin and Ethereum. The same thing with crypto going to follow the U.S. stock market, right? So if the overall market is dumping, crypto will tend to follow that. So that's kind of my thoughts on that, Christine. Right, exactly. And look, I mean, midterms are coming up. Trump knows he can't just totally just ruin the stock market all the way up until he has midterms, right? Because that may be a problem. Yeah, it's supposed to be separate, 100% Latvian, but it just doesn't work that way. Jeez, that's insane, Lee. That's insane. I want to get involved in 2008 VIX peak at 90. What are we at right now? In the 50s. All right, so we still got, there's still room to 90. But yeah, so it's just crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah, I do think it's a matter of time until this China thing is resolved, but could it be tomorrow or maybe it's next month? We just don't know. But I mean, this 104% tariff stuff is insane. It's extremely aggressive, and I don't know. We're getting a little intense here. Yeah, Bitcoin down here at 76. But Bitcoin hasn't really tested its that all-time high from way back in the day, down around 68, right? Isn't that it? Yeah, so right here around 68, 70,000. So we're coming right into that here. Very interesting. Yeah, your phone doubled in value. I was just talking with my brother, and he was saying that he needs to upgrade his phone. I was like, "Well, do it now before they go to like $5,000 a phone, then you can sell it." Doctor says thoughts on LMT. I don't really have any thoughts on it. Lockheed Martin obviously moves when there's turmoil. With like wars and stuff going on overseas. I saw that I think they're making some new like fighter jet or new plane or something, so that could be interesting. But Lockheed will just get it's Boeing. I swear I saw an ad for Lockheed Martin yesterday or the day before, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they are either. But I don't know. For me as a day trader, right? When I see a stock that just gets stagnant, it's to me there's just not a lot of opportunity there, right? So I stay away from it. But when you have scenarios like when Russia and Ukraine started their war, right? Lockheed was a hot stock to trade. Same with Boeing, same with GM. If things start to spiral out of control, and I mean, God forbid we get in some sort of war with China or something like that. I mean, yeah, Lockheed could be a great stock to watch, but I think we're going to have other problems on our hands. So I don't know. I know that was kind of vague, but it's just not a stock that I like to trade from a technical analysis standpoint. You kind of have like a demand zone here from 420 to 400. I've seen it bounce here a lot. So if it breaks under 400, I could see this maybe dropping further depending on news. Or this could be maybe an area to buy. I don't know. Lockheed's not something I look at from really a technical base. It's more so from a fundamental and catalyst based kind of stock which piques my interest on that. What else here? Any thoughts on? Let's see, 5,000 is crazy. Any thoughts on NVVE? So I know this has kind of been watched a lot by us. I do think there could be some potential here. It's just kind of coming down a little bit here. So I don't know. I think that under $1 here, to me, there's nothing technical about this that screams for me to want to buy it or sell it. But this is more of a company you may want to research a little bit more and see what happens here. But I know that some people here are watching that. Yeah, I agree with Lee here, Mad Maverick. The whole market's coming down, right? So pretty much everything any sort of broad market pullback is going to affect everything, right? But I agree. I would look at like upcoming catalyst or their fundamentals. Like I don't know when they have earnings, stuff like that. That's more so how I would look at this. But also, I'm not a low float penny stock trader. John Stonick. Yeah, Lockheed and Raytheon are war stocks. Yeah, I mean, I think NVDE is something that you can, kind of buy when it's real cheap and then just kind of wait because you have these crazy news spikes on it, when it moves 50, 60, 70%. So considering you had it was holding around this $253 area for a while, and you saw pops to $4 and $5. Considering it's way down here, a good news event could really get this thing going. But I haven't looked into the short interest on it or anything like that. But let's see here. So a lot of major supports have been getting just blown out of the water here the last few days, right? So I mean, Meta, this gave up this like 600 to 580 level and dropped all the way down to 460, and it's just crazy. Obviously, we sold off some more today. If the market drops overnight, this could easily make new lows and maybe see 450. Apple to me has just been the one getting murdered the hardest here, under 170. If this China tariff stuff doesn't get resolved, this one could get hurt even more. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see 160 or 150 on this if things don't get any better. Amazon, this was really strong pre-market today. Ended up selling off everything else. I think Amazon would be a nice stock to pick up at one point. But we do have lows over here at 151 on in August of 2024. So I am going to be watching that 150 level and this 160 low here if we continue to drop. I mean, we're sitting at 167 right now after hours. Nvidia is getting hit too. Yeah, 92.65. Amazon 167.5. Meta 494, 495 right now. Tesla 217 right now. Google 142. I mean, just unbelievable prices. It's like a completely different market. It's like it's weird for me to keep up with where these things are because I haven't seen these kind of prices in so long, and it happens so fast. Nice, TNT. That's great. You're diversified really well. How far has Coke come down? A little bit with everything else. Oh, that's a big arrow I got drawn there. Interesting. Yeah. This is one of the most popular dividend stocks here. Pretty cheap. Healthcare stocks, huh? UNH dropped today, but gapped up like crazy. UNH has earnings on the 17th, so 9 days. HUM, wow, yeah, big move there. KO, just gin. Coca-Cola is a super popular dividend stock. Yeah, no, I'm super thrilled to be in a big community during this crash because honestly, like the bear market was one thing, 2-3 years ago, or whatever, but the COVID crash, I was still relatively a new trader at the time, so I didn't really understand the opportunity there was there. So there's no better time than to really focus and buckle down for this stuff, guys. There's a lot of money to be made in scenarios like this. That doesn't mean scalping and zero DTE SPY trading every single day 100 times, right? It's more so getting yourself positioned in scenarios like this. Ray Steele on X. Any idea where the floor of Ford may be? Broke under 904 today, which I had as support. Yeah, so obviously Ford, they manufacture a lot of their cars overseas. So that's, they've been kind of feeling the tariff pain. But, we're at a pretty, let's see why I have this box here. Let me back this out, 20 years. So, anywhere from $8 to $9. I mean, this is like a support area, right? $9 was kind of a price level support, but if you draw this kind of box here I have, this is kind of a demand zone that you can see here. I know a lot of people love Ford, and what better time to start kind of slowly picking this up as it comes down. I mean, honestly, I think watching Ford, you're just going to have to pay attention to the tariffs and kind of these more global news. I don't think anything that Ford does specifically will help rip them back up unless they move manufacturing somewhere else to get away from tariffs. For a company that is this big and in this industry, it's hard to do that. So obviously Fords aren't going anywhere, right? They're not going to just like evaporate off the face of the earth. But yeah, the stock's feeling some pain. So I don't really have a whole lot else on that. This isn't really a stock that I trade a lot. I'm more of just like a scalp day trader kind of guy on mostly tech stocks. So I don't want to give you any ill advice. Yeah, this kind of drop does not care too much about technical analysis by any means, right? But the amount of money flowing in and out of the market right now is just, I've never seen anything like this. And that's why I've been pretty hands off, because to me, there is nobody knows what's going to happen. And if anyone listening right now has someone telling them what that they know something's going to happen is full of it. And I recommend you not listening super carefully, right? I mean, if some of the best people in the world don't know what's going on, then a friend probably doesn't either, right? I'm saying that I don't know anything either. So I've been super careful, not trying to force anything, not trying to be too aggressive, right? I mean, of course, I know I've said this a ton, guys. I know it looks like there's a ton of opportunity here, and there is, right? There's huge moves going on, but it's very, very hard to time this stuff, and it's very hard to predict it. So risk management is going to be your best friend right now. I would much rather you miss out on some money than get way too aggressive and blow up your account, and then you're starting back from square one. Take this as a learning opportunity. Like I said, I'd rather you not try to make $1 million and learn something out of this, because when the next one of these comes around in a couple years or whatever, you could capitalize on it. So I haven't made any massive trades. I've been very, very cautious, very patient, small size, not looking to be a hero here, because I've been in a scenario like this early on in my career, where you're trying to time every bottom, you're trying to time every top, and by the end of it, there's a very low chance that you make money, especially if you're new at this. So I don't know. Just I'm trying to look out for everybody. This is an environment where people can just get bulldozed in one day or less, in minutes sometimes, if you over leverage. Are financial firms pulling retirement accounts out too? Possibly, I doubt it. But there's definitely retirement accounts that are hurting really bad right now. So, I know that Trump doesn't want that to happen, right? He doesn't want to collapse the economy, but I think there's bigger things at play right now. And I think he's tweeted things like, don't basically, like, don't be stupid, don't panic. We had to taste the medicine, or we had to take the medicine, or it was something like that. Yeah, but if I think a lot of people listening can benefit from the housing market coming down, just prices of everything coming down. So I think in the end, this will be good. But obviously, right now, everyone wants to point fingers. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Everyone who took out their 401ks in 2008 definitely ended up regretting that. Zans, yeah, I mean, if you got out at 608, we're 120 points down right now from that. Yeah, geez, Roland, that hurts. And there's many, many, many more people that are down that much and more. It's tough. But and considering how fast this happened. Yeah, Zans, I mean, if someone has millions of dollars in a retirement account, being down 550,000 is doable for sure. Yeah. I mean, not that it matters, but think about guys with hundreds of millions of dollars invested in the markets. 550K would be nothing. All right, they could be down millions and millions of dollars. I mean, you got to think, guys. I think just today, um, well, maybe I don't comment on today, but I know that yesterday when we got that really big pop in the market, when that news came out from the White House, right? We ripped. We went from down 4% to up 4%, and then came right back down. $2.6 trillion was added to the market and then erased in under 15 minutes. $2.6 trillion. So that's also why when I talk about these massive moves and just honestly trying to be more on the defensive side, you need to understand that there is so much money in play right now. So much money in play. Yeah, I mean, $1 billion is difficult to comprehend for most people, right? Think about 2,600 billions getting moved up and down in 15 minutes. It's insane. And looking at the charts on small time frames, the price action doesn't necessarily look that different. But when you zoom out and you see the amount of dollars that we've moved down on things, I mean, I'm happy when SPY moves, $2, $3, $4 in 30 minutes, right? Like that's like great for me on a typical day. And we had a high today of 525, and we're sitting at 489 right now, guys. I mean, that's $35. $35. I mean, that's insane. I've never seen moves like this as long as I've done this, ever. But it's something like this is going to happen again, right? Markets have cycles. Markets have pullbacks. There's been big corrections in the past, and there's going to be big corrections in the future. But I think we can all agree that in scenarios like this, looking back, look at the opportunity that there was during times like this. So rather than trying to day trade and make $1 million and craziness like this, position yourself for the longer term. That to me is the best way to think about this. Yeah, right. Exactly. If SPY would move $6 to $8 in a day, that was pretty crazy. But when you see futures up 4 or 5%, understand that that's not Tesla. Tesla being up 4 or 5% is one thing, but something where there's trillions of dollars involved in it, it's pretty wild. But does anyone have other questions or other tickers you want me to go over? Anyone take any good trades today? I see a couple new faces in here from when we started, but I'm interested to see what happens in the Asian session tonight. I'm not going to be up all night watching it, but I think there could be a pretty big gap down or up. My vote is going to be down, considering these tariffs Trump has now put in, but we'll see. I mean, in this market, guys, I wouldn't be surprised to wake up tomorrow and find out that China resolved it, and SPY is sitting at 550. At this point, I don't. I bought some SPY puts at close and some SPY calls at close. So kind of just hedged myself each way. There are throwaway positions, guys. That was not a real position. I'm in extremely, extremely light size. Yeah, 460 puts and 520 calls just to see if I can catch a big move up or down. But then again, I'm positioned to where worse comes to worse and I lose 100% on both sides. It's not going to affect me whatsoever. So consider that. What's up, Fulcrum?
You took a straddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we are Holy cow. The 104% tariffs on Chinese goods, kind of crazy.
It's insane. I thought it was like a meme until I saw it everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, to put it simply in terms of how I view it, this is just my opinion. It's literally a measuring contest. I don't want to say of what. I think you guys reference.
Oh,
It's a
100%.
measuring contest right now. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, and neither side wants to crack. I mean, right? Because that's like, now it's like the global stage. You know, the two largest economies in the world, and they're seeing who's going to fold.
Yeah, no one wants to admit weakness on either side. So,
and they are willing to tear up their countries to do so. It's like, okay.
yeah, it's insane. Are you positioned overnight at all?
Oh yeah, I bought SPX puts that close.
Nice.
I bought one DDE, so the thing that might destroy me, which is probably going to happen. But I mean, I'm not saying too bad. I mean, the market's almost $9 after market. Oh,
Yeah.
what the heck? Maybe I'm not doing too bad. Hold on.
Yeah, my guess is going to be downside, but just depending on what the Asian markets do. But I mean, shoot, what was it, 2 days ago? I think it was on like Monday or Sunday night. Like Japanese markets down like 14%, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, we could see it like a death candle at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Futures. I don't know. I might have to do some NQ shorts. Might get liquidated, which might not be the move, but I feel like these Asian markets, because if they don't lift the tariffs, I mean, tomorrow's going to be worse than today.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be in effect, right? It's no longer theoretical.
Yeah, I thought it was at midnight tonight. Someone in here said it was it was midnight Asian time, but no, I think it's midnight ours, probably Eastern time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 12 a.m. EST, like for one Wednesday.
Yeah.
I believe okay.
That's what I think.
12:01. Okay, 12:01. Gotcha.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I don't like betting against the market right now because I don't think people losing all this money. So I feel, like bad, but like,
yeah,
this is just crazy. Holy cow.
It's like the big short.
I was probably better. I was probably SPX. Like, this is like these cons are moving. I mean, what is the IV like 160%? Even like 25 cons out the money. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, it's not okay.
Yeah.
I took a lotto today at 358, and the con was $4. I'm like, what cons are out of the money at $4? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, you caught that end of day bounce?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
I probably more than I should have, but I was like, yeah, the last candle was stressing me out, man, because we were not moving for the first 30 seconds. I was like, yeah, I might be cooked. But then it just pumped like $10, like that one candle. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah, crazy. Let's see. Someone has a question here. Every time there's news like wiped out millions and billions of dollars, where does this money go? It's stock price, right? So like when money is wiped off of the stock market, yeah, I mean, no one knows if it goes into different like sectors or whatever, but it's more so like seeing like market caps like come down from, I don't know, if something's a $1.1 trillion and it goes to $1 trillion in market cap, right? That's $100 billion that was wiped out. So whether it's cash, whether it's put into another stock, I mean, Fulcrum, you may be a little bit better at explaining that, but basically they're asking, when you see $2.6 trillion wiped out of the stock market, today or yesterday or whatever it was, where does that money go? That's what they're asking.
Yeah. So when the money goes to the people that were shorting or that are in put options, right? So when a stock goes up, you have, calls or longs, that's where the value of the asset goes. And then when the market goes down, which is what I was betting against, as this overnight, right? If the market goes down and then my puts or my short is up or whatever, then the money goes to me. So it's like two sides of the same coin, right? You have let's say heads is longs and tails is shorts, just because it goes up or down, right? Heads, the value is increasing, so the money flows from the tails to heads, right? So it's like a balancing act, basically.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Someone said this is an orange swan event. That's kind of funny.
That is pretty funny.
Let's see, what other questions you guys have? Yeah, Ron, IV is through the roof right now, but for anyone that's new to this kind of stuff, when markets have extremely fast moves down, you'll see VIX pop up. So IV, just like around earnings time, right? I talked to you guys about IV being up a lot on stock option contracts when earnings are up, right? It's the same thing. If I know that a price of an apple is going to go up, or could go up multiple 100%, well, I want to sell you that apple for a higher price, because I don't want you to be able to pay pennies on the dollar for something that could go way up in price, right? Yeah, and brokers win either way. Yeah. Futures are turning around. Yeah, a little bit of a bounce here. Like a $2 bounce. I mean, this a $2 bounce on SPY looks like nothing right now. But yeah, we'll see. So if anyone's up late tonight at 12 Eastern, you could see a pretty solid. I know some guys at the firm that I've interned at. They're pulling an all-nighter there. They're going to be sitting there waiting for that to come out. Probably trade the overnight session on futures and see what happens. But
yeah, that's probably going to be insane.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie.
I may set an alarm and just wake up just to see where it's at.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious.
Yeah.
I guess I go to bed at like 2, like about 8. It's probably not the healthiest, but I am very curious to see that. Because overnight, usually it's like 12, they do it during the day. Obviously, it's 12 hours ahead, so it's a little different, but yeah. I mean, I just 104, that number just boggled. I mean, it's like, I don't want to say it's comical because I don't want to make it political, but it more like surreal, I guess, is a better way to put it. Like, dang. If they keep those tariffs in place, some stuff can get really, really expensive very quickly.
Oh yeah.
This is an overnight expense increase, right? Like if this is true, I mean, I don't know if you heard, Apple had 5 cargo planes of phones shipped to the United States.
Oh my God.
Before the 12 o'clock deadline.
Wow.
5 cargo planes.
Wow.
It's like, what was happening?
Yeah. Well, you guys that want iPhones, you probably should go tonight to go upgrade, because
Yeah. So they were saying it could be a 3x increase in cost to build an iPhone.
Yeah.
So, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's insane.
I saw that Apple, I think they're like negotiating with India to possibly move a lot of their manufacturing there.
Right. Yeah,
So that kind of entices me to maybe buy a little bit of an Apple down here. I mean, this is freaking $170 a share is just insane.
Is it below the $100 mark on its peak? I remember I was listening to your stream.
I think the
like
peak was 260, so we're almost there. Let me look.
Not quite. Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, all-time highs is 260, so we're almost there.
Okay. You know what's interesting is, like, speaking of well, like the Indian economy is being hyped up like crazy. It's been like, especially over the last couple of months in particular, like economists have been, very interested. So I wonder, like, a thematic question here for you or for anyone that's interested is, how will India's economy be impacted by, if US and China are going after each other, are they going to find a mutual ground, and could that be in India? Will India become a broker of goods?
Yeah.
That's like an interesting
topic for sure.
Yeah, because like what you were saying, right? Which is like, well, they might move into India, and I know Elon Musk met with the Moody. I don't know. It was like maybe a year ago, but like, it's an interesting. I don't know. I haven't looked into it as much. I probably should, but I know, like, I'm sure there's been hype around it, and then these tariffs are in place. No one's talking about tariffing the heck out of India.
I know.
So.
Exactly. Yeah, and Elon did go over there. I think it was probably at least 6 months ago. It was a while ago, but right. I wonder if Elon maybe knew this stuff was coming. Maybe got ahead of the game. Who knows? But
yeah, seriously. He was like a crazy donor to Trump. He probably knew all along. I'm not lying.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He probably did. So,
Yeah. See, companies are front running orders big time. Yeah, it sounds like I didn't hear about these cargo planes for Apple, but I mean it makes sense. All these massive companies are scrambling. Where's Nike at? Let's see. Another.
oh yeah, I remember that Nike had a relief bounce last. What I think it was Friday because like the Vietnam tariffs were on
Yeah.
or something.
They're still crushed. Jeez, man, almost $50 a share. They're at lows from 2020 right now.
Is that far down? Holy cow!
Yeah, I mean we're at prices from 2015, 16, 17, 18.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, what like companies, and I guess I don't know if this matters as much now, but are mainly manufacturing in the US that are huge industrial? I'm sure there's an answer to this.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I wouldn't know off the top of my head like a bunch of the main ones. I mean, I know that like Teslas are mainly manufactured here. So I think that's a reason why they're not like making these unbelievable like just jump off a cliff new lows.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good thing to research right now.
Yeah, because I need to look into it, but I think you know what I mean. Like, I wonder if people are forced to build here, you would assume the current builders are going to have an advantage because they already built in the cost of American, human capital into their expenditures. So I feel like that would make sense for them to get a bolster.
Yeah.
Let's see. This person has a doomsday question. Hello.
Yeah, I'm reading it here. Yeah, you take this one if you want it.
I mean, technically, yes. In theory, right? Like no, you're good. It can go insanely. I mean, stocks go to zero, right? Like there have been companies like Enron or was one like they get shorted to the ground. I mean, it's possible. It would mean that short sellers like Michael, like a good example is in 2008, Michael Burry, when he shorted the housing market. So like it can go low, but like there's reasons governments have circuit breakers in place, which I think was triggered on the NDX. I'm pretty sure last week. I think on maybe Friday or Sunday, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But they have these in place because I mean most people are long, right? I mean maybe over time, right? Because that's what most people's short markets will increase. But I think like theoretically the answer is yes, but in reality, no, because all the rich people like Citadel or BlackRock would artificially pump the heck out of the markets. They would not let that happen.
Yeah.
Did you see? Speaking of which, did you see hedge funds are calling in Trump from the margin call last week? Did you see that?
Oh, really? No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So I don't know the names. I don't think they disclosed it, but a lot of like the major players that were trying to long the market were getting margin called Monday morning, right when the drop happened again.
Jeez.
And so part of the, I don't know if this is true. I heard a theory from I know the CEO of this hedge fund in Atlanta. It's like 1.5 billion AUM or something, but they were like saying like maybe the fake news on Monday or yesterday, right, of the pump was because the hedge fund paid off a news outlet to say it to the White House. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, that was a way to.
I feel like they would, right?
That move to me was like total manipulation, I think.
You agree, right? I feel like there's no way it was not on purpose. That was totally on purpose. Like, no way.
Yeah, it's just.
I don't trust them.
Yeah, I don't either. For something like that to just be like total fake news to me, it just doesn't make sense.
What did you say? $2.6 trillion of liquidity added?
Yeah, added and taken off in under 15 minutes. Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah, that's manipulation 101. It doesn't get more manipulated.
Yeah. What's up, Porter?
What's that?
Oh, hey guys. Have you guys ever been marketing calls before?
I have not. No.
No, I have not. That's why I have a stop loss.
Yeah.
If I was margin call with how I was trading, I would probably have to take out a second mortgage. So that'd be really good. That's why I do SPX for my like last minute trades because it's cash settle. Unless you borrow to buy the option. Yeah, unless you borrow to buy the option itself, as long as you just buy it, with whatever buying power you have that's settled, you're fine.
So I think someone's asking, So hang on, someone's asking what a margin call is. So basically, a margin call, like going on margin, is borrowing money from your brokerage or whatever to trade with, right? So let's say that I have 10 grand and I go on margin and they give me an extra 10 grand, right? So I can trade with $20,000. And let's say that I invest, or let's say that I short something, right? And I'm shorting 20 grand and that stock just starts ripping up. Well, you can then go negative, right? So like if I buy a stock and it goes to zero, I just lose all my money. I don't lose any extra. But if I short something, for an example, with 20 grand and it rips up against me, I could be down $40,000. Well, not only do you owe the 10,000 that they gave you, well, you owe that extra $20,000 that you're now, somewhat, like, I guess you can call it, like, in debt to the brokerage or whatever. So you don't. It's very risky to mess around with margin if you're not an experienced trader, for sure.
Yeah, it's called getting super cooked.
Yeah, super cooked for sure.
Not just liquidated, but you owe them money. That's a bad combo.
Yeah, very bad.
That's a futures trading. Live futures trading requires margin. So for anybody here that does futures, I don't know, do funded accounts. I'm not necessarily a big fan of them, but
Yeah,
it's
me neither.
way cheaper. You don't gotta. I think it's like one NQ is like 30 grand. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't want to get margin called when the minimum investment is 30 grand, because that'll go red like really fast. So you don't want to do that. Do you mess around with futures trading, Ethan, or are you more of like a?
No, I've not traded like raw futures before. I like the fact that there's no like time decay or anything like that, but it's just never been something that I've done. No. I have some friends that do it though, but they did all the funded account BS, and look, like Fulcrum said, guys, the funded account stuff. I mean, it's good because you pay your initial fee, whatever, and technically you can't necessarily like blow up an account because it's really just fake money that they're giving you to trade with. You're gonna get terrible fills. They make it extremely hard for you to actually like make money and get your like payouts or whatever they call it. But it's much better than going on margin on your own and trying to do it and make a mistake early on when you're a new trader. And like we're talking about right now, like getting on margin calls and stuff like that, because it's really, there's no hiding. If you owe the bank money, it's, especially in a scenario like this, there's no hiding. So just be careful.
I have a question though.
What's up?
You said you worked for a prop firm before, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I was talking to Quench the other day, and he made the statement saying that prop firms are scams. I mean, I realized the one you worked for was like up here, but
his is not a typical. His is an actual prop firm.
Prop firm's got a bad rap now because of what's going on.
Ethan worked for a prestigious trading company, not a not as big as bad, but
they call it prop firm because it's proprietary trading, right? They have their own proprietary software and stuff like that. But right now you hear the term prop firm because you have these online, quote unquote prop firms where you could pay your $50 fee and then you pass this like test and then they give you a fake $50,000 account to trade with. And if, you get half of whatever profits you make if you hit these certain goals or whatever like that. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you can call it a prop firm, but it's just, it's a whole different thing now.
And that's what my question was, where it's fake money. I meant that it's real money, right? It's against the position you open.
Oh, there's so there's a couple of different layers. So you have a funded, like an eval, which is paper trading, with the passive. Then you have a funded account, which is still technically paper money, but you can get payouts from it. And then you have a live trading account, which is actual money. So what Ethan did, I won't speak on your behalf, way more about this than I did, is they gave you like a substantial amount of live cash for you to trade, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So then that's like an actual proprietary, it's more proprietary trading. I guess you got to say the whole thing, like people think you're thinking of Apex or something.
Yeah.
But like that, an actual proprietary trading firm is that are really, really freaking good traders that have all kinds of crazy technology, which Ethan did and is, versus like a Top Step, right? Where like your average Joe can buy an account for $50 and just keep losing, right? And they make money on reset. So actual proprietary trading firms make money on excellence. Would you say that's
Right, 100%. And what I like to tell everyone about these new prop firms is like, guys, it's a business, right? These wouldn't be a thing if they didn't make money. And so what are they really betting on? They're not betting that you're going to make money. And sure, there's people that have all these, funded accounts because they pass all these tests and they're a 7-figure funded trader, whatever. That's all BS because it's a business, because they're betting on the fact that 90% of traders fail. And they give you an easy entry into the market for someone that doesn't have any money to pay your $100, $50, $500, whatever it is, and get these funded accounts. But statistically, they make it extremely hard for you, and they want you to fail because then they get their fee. And I've heard from, I forgot where I heard it from, but I've heard also that some of these prop firms actually will create an account to trade against you as well, because the average person loses, especially new traders. So they can actually then trade against you and make money there too. So, yeah. I mean, it's a total scam.
That's crazy.
So many naked options. They're the ones who sell you the contract. It's a closed system. You can just liquidity.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard from guys who've done this before. It's like, if I want to buy SPY at, what is it, 489.50 right now, and I hit buy, I might get filled at 491. So, I mean, you're going to get terrible fills. It's going to be laggy. I mean, they do anything they can to make it hard on you. So, look, I get it. Maybe something fun, and it's very low risk, which is a good thing about it. But at the end of the day, it's not. To me, it's just BS, and I hate them. And to me, it's a total, like, it's just robbery. But it's a business.
100%. I mean, the 0.1% or less of traders like you that get into actual proprietary trading firms, that's the real sauce is that, because you're with experts. But like these top staff, it's so scummy. I mean, the only reason they make money, like you said, is because people fail.
Yeah.
A lot. So, like, did you hear about the fast track trading drama? That FTT, is that ringing about all?
I've heard of FTT, but what happened with them?
So basically, it was a prop firm, like not a good one, like retail prop firm, and the owner, this guy Scott, would take the payout money for like traders and then pay themselves the money.
Yeah.
So it was a total scam, like a pyramid scheme, right? Total scam. He took out $5 million or something liquid from payouts to buy himself limited edition Ferraris. It was crazy.
Jeez. Yeah, so if the few people that win, they're going to make money on you as well. So they're winning on both sides.
Yeah, they take everything. It's a back out.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous. That's why, like, and it's tough, right? Because when you have options, your account's a pretty dang big size. Like, it takes a while to build that up, but you learn way more along the way, right? And I feel like either it could be stocks, equities, whatever. It's just futures is just it's a touchy subject. Only because these balance, man.
It's insane.
We've been on a tangent forever, but anyways, it is 8:07. I know you have your thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hang up for a few more minutes if you guys want. But yeah, no, I'm chilling. Are there any questions you guys have in the chat? I'll be back in 1 minute, and I'll be here to answer them.
Cool. Wait, another 50% on top of 100. So it's 154. Is that real? Wait, are you?
What?
Wait, hold on.
All right, let's do some research here. Yeah.
Crazy. That would be crazy. Wait, there's no way. I'm not seeing. Maybe they did. I don't know. That would be sick. 154% diabolical.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything yet.
I just see the 104%.
The thing is, like,
Man.
TK, do you have a link?
own systems of supply chains that don't, that is most of, the way I grew up, and so it's like China's factories, right? Like, like walls protecting systems. That's not China. It's like it's very well developed in many places. The mega cities there are like outshadow everything in the U.S. for the most part. Like it's insane. Now they don't consume as much, but like there is a growing middle class. From what I know from direct experience. But where these factories are, it's in Southeast Asia, and Bangladesh. It's as far as getting all the raw textiles to the factories, producing the ready-made products to the major brands like Gap, Nordstrom, stuff like that. My friend that actually holds a permit for the ports there, one of 20 people. Having the tariffs that like, I don't think it's going to hurt China the way we think it's going to. They have other means to be able to smuggle things, if you will. The way things work over here is different. It's not so clear cut. I just kind of worry about having a trade war with China in this way. And I also wonder, like, how much is dependent on China? Because what I'm saying is that a lot of the products are made in Southeast Asia, but they're actually owned by factories that are owned by Chinese, a lot of Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. I mean, it's by blood, it makes it the majority of the population. Like, I think the complexity of this issue with tariffs is not so simple as, oh, they did this to us, we're going to do it back to them. And if we do it back to them, it's going to hurt them. Like, I don't think the leverage is so easy or weighted the way that we're doing it. So, like, that's why I'm also very hesitant to, pick a perspective long term. But like with the tariffs on China, like what is your perspective on?
Sorry,
Oh, me or you?
Anyone?
Touche. I'm trying to find this extra 50%.
yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I can't find it. I mean, it's possible, but I can't find it.
Yeah, I mean, if this is real, I mean, we'll know in the next 5 or 10 minutes. But
I was gonna say, yeah.
there's look, there's going to be people that are going to post fake things to get traction on Twitter. So I don't know that guy TK. If he's good, he's good. I don't know. When I click on his profile, I don't see that post, but the 50% on top. Okay, yeah, then that would make sense.
It's
going to go to 104. Okay.
That's just crazy. Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
You're spot on. Like there's a huge a gap in wealth there. Like much larger. Like I used to teach to Chinese students online. Actually, that's what brought me to any boys when they changed policies. I would practice Thailand, but yeah, like some of these families, they're paying in China. They're paying what was it per hour? I think it was about $100 an hour for their 6-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 12-year-olds just to study English online, listen online. That's insane. I was making $52 an hour working for this company, and they were making probably 300% what I was making. Like it's insane. The inequality. Like yeah, there is the other side. On the other path is a point, but as far as carrying the economy, like in America right now, there's a huge inequality gap too, where like it doesn't matter what system or government or politics you have, whatever rules you have in place. There's case studies on this. There's history for this. If you level up the playing field within 12 years, the same gaps were 16 to 1. This happened, which is a difficult situation. But yeah, we're talking about. That's why I'm also hesitant looking at the data, because you look how the normal people live. And then you look at the actual data, and then you're comparing what's becoming much larger to what's just much smaller, and the power shift between both. I think that's where we need to be more aligned to when thinking about what an economy is. I mean, I also didn't study this at all, and I'm just kind of figuring it out in the market through people. I'm interested to actually get you guys. It's like Ethan, Fulcrum, I know you're studying both music and I guess business finance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ethan, where are you studying?
Yeah, like finance and management, whatever I can get through with quickly.
From economics courses, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So like, how do you kind of view what isn't it? Well, okay, that's a very broad question. When people are talking about like the economy strong right now, like here, with Powell saying, do you take that like a grain of salt, or how do you view it?
I mean, I'm definitely not an economics expert, but I think that ever since after COVID, with the stimulus just injection into the market, things have been so expensive that I think a lot of money was just put into the market. And a lot of people just didn't have a lot of cash. So, to say that it's strong, I do think that it's a little bit inflated. And that's honestly why you see such aggressive moves down, is because no one wants to be that last guy holding. And, honestly, there's just so many things in play. I think that when I saw credit card debt going through the roof and interest rates were going up, and no one can afford a house, it's like it was a huge like wealth transfer. And the stat right now is, I think 94% of all US stocks are owned by 8% of the people. So I think that it's just there's just the obviously like the classes are just dividing even more from upper to middle and lower class. So I don't know if that answered the question, but I do think that this is somewhat of an artificial market, considering how we've just gone straight up. I mean, even if you just look at SPY over like a 30-year time frame, you can just see how exponentially this thing moved. Like, let's go on a max available here and zoom out, right? I mean,
It's ever since like 2008. I feel like, yeah.
I don't know. That's probably not the best answer. And to be honest with you, I'm not much of a studious student to begin with. So
You make green, bro, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, get me out of here.
I have to head off, but I did want to say in my last thing, which is what Ethan said. I mean, I 100% agree with it. I mean, he's spot on. And the last thing, remember the baby boomers. There's going to be an unbelievable transfer of wealth when that generation starts to pass. So keep in mind that'll be a stimulus just by nature, because they're going to have people moving into these retirement accounts and these trusts, and they're going to start buying assets. So I think, Ethan, what you said about the 2020, like you're 100%, I completely agree with you. It's been artificial now, 2024, not 2022, but since those checks, what is it? It's like half of every dollar printed is from last. It's some crazy number where it's like an unbelievable percentage has been pumped into the market in the past 5 years. So I think I completely agree with you. It's been artificial for a while now, and maybe the tariffs are the trigger. Who knows, right? We're gonna find out. Like, I mean, we had almost a 20% drop in less than 5 days.
Yeah,
business days or something. I mean, that's just holy cow! It's psychotic. So, anyways, it was nice chatting with both of you. I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna post some stuff in my chat tonight, anyways, because you both piqued my interest on that stuff.
Yeah, thanks for being here, dude. This is great. I'm gonna call it here too, guys. So, if there's any other questions, throw them at me. But other than that, this was a good one. This went long too, so I enjoyed it. This is important stuff. I mean, we're in such a crazy time now. I'm surprised not more of y'all are here listening to the lesson. So for y'all that are here, this will help you a ton. This is where the real work gets put in. This is where that learning curve is going to exponentially get better for you. So great job, everyone, being here. I enjoyed it a ton. And yeah, thank you guys. Let's see where the market opens tomorrow. It's going to be crazy. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye-bye.